There's a man who follows me around and narrates my life, and he started to say some unsettling things. He's always been here. Although, I actually don't know if he's a he, and though I wouldn't want to assume anything, the voice is definitely a male's voice. I've never seen his face, always the back of him. He wears a black trench coat with a popped collar so that all I can really see is the very top of his head and part of his black boots. I can't communicate with him, and I figured this out a few years back. He just stands a few feet away from me at all times, his back to me, narrating my entire life. No one else can see him. I figured this out a few years back as well, nor can they hear him. My day usually starts off the same. I always wake up to the same sentence. Natalia wakes up and rolls over in her bed. Every single day he says that because that is what I do. It's all very mundane. My life is not that interesting after all. I've sort of learned to live with it, and I can almost tune him out now. I've never really told anyone else about him because I know that no one would believe me. So I really don't have much of a choice, other than learning to deal with it and tuning him out when I really need to. About a week ago, I was cooking dinner, mashed potatoes and black bean tacos, and tuning him out as normal. As I was chopping up some cilantro for my tacos, however, he said something that caught my attention. Natalia is innocently chopping cilantro, without any knowledge that she is in grave danger. I froze, the knife in the middle of my small pile of cilantro, and looked over at him. He was standing on the other side of the kitchen island, facing my dinner table. "What?" I asked, knowing that he wasn't going to reply. At this point, I think I'd be more freaked out about him replying than him not. He said nothing for a few minutes, so I finished chopping, wiping the pieces of cilantro that got stuck to the blade, with my finger and cutting it in the process. Fuck. I turned around and turned on the faucet, rinsing the knife in my finger. Natalia cut herself, and her blood oozes out, pleasing the one who watches. I turned the faucet off and turned around. He hadn't moved, but I was sure that I heard him correctly. I walked over to the window on the wall to my left and pulled on the cord, shutting the blinds as I became paranoid. I managed to eat my dinner and do the dishes without any other weird comments and got ready for bed. As I got sleepier, I reached over and turned off the lamp by my bed, rolling over onto my left side and closing my eyes. Natalia rolls over, closing her eyes and peacefully lying in her bed. What she doesn't know, however, is that she will soon face a horrible fate that will end in her death. I opened my eyes, sitting up and looking over at his silhouette, slightly lit by the moonlight. I waited a few minutes, but he said nothing else, and I eventually fell asleep. I woke up the next morning as my alarm went off. Natalia wakes up and rolls over in bed, one day closer to her inevitable death. I got up, walking into the bathroom and slamming the door shut, annoyed and a little bit scared. He had been narrating my entire life, and had never said anything creepy or out of the ordinary, so what was going on now? I opened the faucet and began splashing water onto my face. Natalia washes her face, but she doesn't seem to realize that it is much easier for someone to attack when her eyes are closed. I rinsed the soap away from my eye area and looked at my reflection in front of me, and at his, standing behind me. I finished rinsing my face with my eyes open and managed to dry it without completely covering my eyes. The rest of my week went pretty similar, normal narrations for the most part, with some creepy stuff sprinkled in. He is coming for her very soon. It is unavoidable. Natalia must die. Every time he said something, I looked around at my surroundings, paranoid. I spent the entire week anxious and paranoid. I barely slept, fearing that I would wake